In 1996, Cannondale introduced a new type of frame designation, the Cannondale Advanced Aluminum Design, or CAD, or CAAD, or CAD for short. This naming convention is still in use today, albeit only on road bikes, and has meanwhile reached CAD number 13. The 96 M200 was offered in two variants, a more comfortable and upright LE version, and the sportier SE that we have here. The design on this one is simply called Black Gold, and its full beauty will only be revealed later in this video after we have cleaned and polished the frame. The condition seems to be pretty good, with some noticeable paint chips, but no dents and not too many scratches. Oh, and as it appears, it must have been a pirate's bike in its previous life. Hey, what is up? I'm Alex, and finally we're back with a new build video. This winter has been one of the more persistent in recent memory, which is why I had to keep you waiting for a new build video longer than I would have wanted to, but we have a very exciting season ahead of us. Some interesting new frames have arrived over the last few weeks. We've got your Cannondales, your Specialized, so all the builds that you like to see, but we also have some much more exotic European brands that I'm sure many of you will have never even heard of. We will also return to the paint booth for some custom paint jobs. We'll collaborate on a fixed gear build, and I just received a prototype for a brand new part that we're launching this year. So yeah, lots of reasons to subscribe and look forward to. And with that out the way, let's talk about today's build. So when it comes to building custom bikes, my philosophy, isn't that a bit of a fancy word? Let's call it my approach to bike building, is usually less is more. Without a doubt, you will have seen me reduce the number of highlights on a bike on a number of occasions. While that's all well and good, sometimes, well, sometimes more is indeed more. The first part that is going on here is a golden Coda seat post clamp, and it's the first of a number of golden or bronze anodized parts. I think this build might actually set a new record of most anodized parts used in a bottoncino build ever. We purchased the bike in exactly the condition that you saw initially, so without a seat post clamp. This one that's going on here is exactly the one that this bike would have come with originally, with one small exception. Funny thing about this seat post clamp is that the print is upside down. So instead of Coda, it says ADOC, potentially the only ADOC seat post clamp in the world. Seems like the old pirate captain really made sure to keep everything greased up. Not necessarily against the idea of this being a pirate bike. I just don't like this sticker too much. It's a bit too tribal looking, if that makes any sense. But I do have an idea for a different kind of pirate sticker that is going on here. And we'll apply that at the end of the video. Thank you, Pirate Captain. So this Diacom brake cable hanger is not exactly silver. It has a slight golden tint to it, which usually bothers me. But in this build, it's actually really helpful because it fits with the overall color scheme, since we'll be using more parts like this. Since you guys often ask about the products that I use in these builds, we have added a bunch more to the website. So you'll now find this top wax on there, as well as the polish that I used, and pretty much everything that I use during the build process. These tools, as well as all the components that go on this bike, are all linked in the video description. And for your convenience, you can also scan the QR code and that'll take you straight to the shop. And if you decide to buy from us rather than from Amazon or some other big company, both me and your karma will surely appreciate it. Now that the frame is all prepped and ready for the build, we can take a look at the components, and then it'll also become clear why, in this case, I don't mind that this is not silver, but some kind of gold tint. And that is because we are using many different STX components. At the center of it all, these STX RC cranks in this beautiful golden finish. There are different variations of these cranks. I believe these originally came with all silver chainrings. These are the MC33, I believe. Yes, MC33. Then we have the MC30, which is the regular STX, so not RC. And you can see here the crank arm itself is all silver. It doesn't have this golden finish. But this one has a golden large chainring, while the other two, the smaller ones, are silver. And then there are other cranks where I don't know what this one was, if it was an RC or the regular STX, but you can see the largest chainring here is silver, the middle one is golden, and I believe this was also part of these cranks here, and the smallest chainring here is also golden. So the plan is, out of all of this, to build one crank set that is all golden, and then we're gonna pair it up with STX shifters that also have a small golden element up here. we'll use an STX derailleur, rear derailleur, with also this golden element. We will use STX cantilever brakes, also in the golden finish. And then for the brake shifter combo, I've also chosen STX components, even though they lost their branding. But yeah, you can trust me, they're STX. They are also the MC30. So yeah, still requires a bit of cleaning, servicing, and obviously putting together the cranks. And then we can put it on the bike. As I was cleaning the front derailleur, I kind of forgot about the anodized section on it and also scraped over it with the cleaning sponge. I realized that it hadn't scratched at all. That's why I went back to the cranks and gave them another good cleaning with the cleaning sponge and was able to get them a lot nicer looking that way. So once again, yay to the cleaning sponge. Today we are using a wheel set with Shimano Acera X hubs, and these hubs also have this chromica effect. So they are anodized. These aren't really gold, but more gunmetal gray is what that is usually called on like phones and stuff. And the rims, they also have a matte finish. It's more silver here, but yeah, it fits in nicely with all the other parts. Yeah, then we can true the wheel, and it definitely needs a truing. There are some spokes like this one here. You see it's very, very loose. So yeah, pretty poor spoke tension all around, so you would even expect it to wobble more. Truing wheels is something I don't usually show in these videos because I don't think it's too exciting to watch. I guess if we speed it up, it kind of looks like I'm playing the harp. But it's obviously a very important step, and it's also quite satisfying to do. It's also not rocket science either. Basically, you just need to listen to where the rim is rubbing, because that's how you know that it's protruding in that area, and then just count over how many spokes that area lasts. So yeah, pretty good training for your listening and short-term memory skills. There are actually some that say I should true wheels more often. very very fingerprint prone, this crank, but look how shiny it is. I think we need to switch to a shorter axle because the chain rings sit pretty far from the frame, as you can see here. So yeah, not ideal. And that's what it now looks like with a 113. We had a 122 millimeter before, and yeah, it's now a lot closer to the frame. Found it a bit difficult to pick out the right crank bolts because naturally there's no like nothing that matches this golden anodized color. So I decided to go for silver ones because on the derailleurs we also have that combination of gold and silver. And since the crank otherwise is completely golden, I think, yeah, this is the best solution rather than going for black or something. You may notice that these are not the ones that I showed you initially. As it turned out, they were broken. So I think this plastic part was hanging on by a thread, and when I started taking it apart to remove the cable that was still in there, it came off completely. And so yeah, I switched to these fully black ones. So I just noticed this gap here. Some headsets have a little seal on top here to prevent water from entering the headset, and it looks like this headset originally had one and it went missing. So let's see if we can find a replacement. Something like this. You see, it's an old Shimano 105 road bike headset, but it's also 1 inch, so it's compatible. So yeah, this is exactly what we need. So rather than trying to remove the seal and then risking damaging it, I'm just going to switch out the whole thing. I think we can get away with quite a tight wrap around here. There's not really any sharp bend in the cable, so yeah, quite happy with that. This is not the prettiest one, so we're gonna switch this out. Let's replace it with this one. Even the cassette has a golden shimmer. I promised you earlier that the bike would continue living its pirate life, and it's time to keep that promise. I hope you enjoyed this rebuild, and if you didn't, I think you should give me another chance next week, because we're rebuilding something really special. You might remember my green Cannondale M200 from '95. Next week, we're working on the exact same model in the alternate color.